Hi, I'm Katie Hartley. I'm from the Diver Memorial Library on Garner-Webb's campus, and I'm going to talk to you today about applying public library principles to serving the community in an academic library through the use of storytime. And it's a really long title, but there we go. So a little bit of background information about my library. Recently, we went through and revamped our children's collection, including making sure everything was up to date and as user-friendly as possible. As of right now, we have a large population of education students on our campus, and they use the children's collection as part of their curriculum. However, we have been wanting to expand out the use of our collection to not just meet the needs of our students on an academic, from an academic standpoint, but also from that mental health side of things, and give them more chances to just read in their leisure time. So that is part of the challenge that we want to meet. Next, we want to get our community patrons into our library to use the children's collection. We serve a very small rural community, and we don't have a public library within a 15-mile radius of the school, except for a small annex in the YMCA. So we want to give our community patrons that point of access to information through the use of our collection. Next, we want to create new partnerships on campus by including the education students in a new project that would reach out to the community. And all of this put together, we want to expand the collection and meet all of our patrons' needs in a more succinct way. So why Storytime? So we have identified this type of project as an all-encompassing outreach project that would meet all of the challenge needs that I just mentioned. We would get that student engagement by giving them the chance to get their community service hours in through the library by engaging with the community members, and give the community members on the other end of things the opportunity to get that enriching project that they can engage with on a deeper level and get them involved with using our collection and understanding that we're here and we're not just an academic library, but we can be useful to them as well. And as a result of this, we would create that organic traffic and increase in the use of our collection, while also getting more repeat business, because as a former public librarian myself, I can tell you that Storytime brings in those regular patrons. Again, we want to also increase that partnership with our other departments, and this would give us the opportunity to work very closely with the education department while giving their students that outreach opportunity that they need. And lastly, we have a brand new friends group that we have created over the last year. And a project like this would give them the opportunity to give back to the library in a meaningful way, either monetarily through getting some of the project needs done, or participating in some of the Storytime events themselves. All right, thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, now's the time. And also, if you think of anything later, my contact information is below. I'm going to exit the full screen and pull up the chat. And you can also just talk out loud, just depending on what you want to do. So Actually, that's a great question. One of my other coworkers and I were talking through the challenges that we were facing with this collection and trying to figure out the best way to go about tackling it. And as I said before, because I'm a former public librarian, I know for sure that this is a really good way to increase that engagement with the public especially. And because we're an academic library, it's a way to promote ourselves to the community in a way that they understand. Yes, we are. That's also a great question. So are we planning to record the storytime sessions? Yes, absolutely. And I have experience with creating YouTube channels. So what we would do is put it all into an archive and give access through YouTube. That way, if patrons can't participate in person, they can still do it online. That's a great question. Thank you. That's a really good question. So as far as contacting the public, we would be working with our administration office and our university lawyer to make sure that everything that we send out to the public is correct as far as what the university expects. And we would be contacting the local churches because we are a Christian school, and we already have some of those partnerships in place. We would be contacting our members in the local churches to spread the word that way. We also have access to posting things in certain local businesses on their community boards. We also have very active social media, so we would be doing things that way. And as far as handling copyright, that is a really great question. And I can only answer part of it because I haven't quite gotten all the way there yet, but I will let you know when I have the full and complete answer to it. As far as I am aware with certain parts of it, as long as you are not using the information that you are giving for monetary gain, you should be okay as far as copyright goes. But again, like I said, that is one of those points that I'm going to have to do a deeper dive into to get a more complete answer on that. Daniel, that's a great question. So we have already talked about the parking on campus, and because we are talking about certain days and certain times, the great thing with that is that we can let everybody know. And we have also had a recent intern from the business school who did statistics for us to make sure that we can do story time at a time when we would have the least amount of student traffic. So that way we're not disturbing the students as they study, but our parking lots are also less full then too. But thank you for that question.